Good evening, morning, whenever you're deciding to watch this. I hope that you guys are healthy and you're safe and you're in your bunkers. I'm actually in my office. You can tell because my Nintendo's right over there. But this is the first time I've done this in a long time. This video for my students using my PowerPoints. So I am going to do my best, my very, very best to not say, okay? That is going to be extremely hard for me. Don't say, um. We're going to be talking about economics and propaganda, and I'm going to try to keep this brief. Let's try to keep it within 15 to 17 minutes. That way you guys can watch a whole lecture of me condensed. So let's get started, I guess. It's going to work like this. So I'm going to have a PowerPoint up here, and you guys know what you're doing. So I want you guys to make sure that you guys take notes on the PowerPoint you see, but I also want you to take notes on what I'm saying to you too, because I want to be able to fill in the blanks for you as best I can. And of course, you know there's going to be a short quiz, and I will get those graded as soon as possible. But this quiz will be based off what I say too, so make sure that you're listening, and you can play the video again if you need to, I suppose. We're going to be talking about the world, right? And we're going to be talking about America and everything that's going on. We're going to be talking about that. But I want to just talk a little bit about economics and how it's essentially the dark arts. You guys, I told you guys about this early on in the semester. I got my bachelor's and my master's, my first master's in economics. I'm an economist. And the reason why I did this is because I wanted to understand the world better. I wanted to see the things that I wasn't seeing. But when I did start to see that, it got really scary for me. I started to fear things. And I'm not going to try to scare you guys with this lecture, but I'm going to try to open your eyes a little bit to what's going on. This is the Bilderberg Group. And you can see this is actually the Bilderberg Group right here. This is a very powerful group of people across the world, and they meet once a year. And these powerful people control things like, yeah, McDonald's, 3M, the most powerful companies in the world. But not only that, we're talking politics too, and university systems, and newspapers, and media, and all of these people are connected, and they meet once a year. That is a bit ominous. So it is, whenever somebody says that the conspiracy isn't happening, right? You can always point back to the Bilderberg Group and say, like, well, somebody is actually planning this economy. And we can see that right here. And yes, economies do take planning, but it is a lot to do with us. And I'm going to show you that as we go through this. So let's get started. I just want to get started. I guess we'll start with current events like normal. Obviously, this is the biggest thing that's ever happened to us, right? Like this COVID-19 thing is huge. In America, this says 83,000, and who knows when you're watching this at what number it'll be. There's no way to keep up with the numbers with this kind of format, but I can tell you, as of today, we're already over 102,000. So we are being hit. We are by far the number one country being hit with this. And I think I was pretty confident that I told you guys this was going to happen. But here's the thing. It is happening, and we need to do our best to stop this thing. And let's see where we're at here in Utah. You guys can't see this, but it says 396. I'm sure that number will be raised by the time we start this. But let's see what else. So this headline came out over the weekend on NPR and says, mystery in Wuhan, recovered coronavirus patients test negative, and then they test positive. And this is a terrifying story because this basically is saying that people can be tested negative and then later come back positive, meaning that we don't have any kind of secure, good test for this disease. Here's the second thing. In Wuhan, where this whole thing started, they have reported almost no cases. We have seen almost no cases in the last, I don't know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It's like they've just vanished off the face of the earth. And that's obviously not true. So I don't know what to believe. I don't know where these numbers are coming from, but this kind of headline certainly should scare you into thinking that, what is the actual numbers? And is China actually reporting the actual news? But thinking about our own country and what we've done over the last 2 weeks, obviously you guys aren't in school anymore. I mean, you guys will be taking my classes online, but you guys won't be able to see me face to face. But this is not just true of universities, as you guys know, everything has absolutely closed down. And, a lot of scientists are saying this is the absolute right move in terms of trying to stop the virus, right? Trying to blunt the curve, right? Trying to dampen the amount of people sick, immediately trying to save our hospital systems. But we have to ask, was this the best reaction? And not only that, what are the consequences of us completely shutting down the United States? This has never happened before. Never happened before. We've never shut down the United States. I mean, 9/11, there's still people going to work the next day. There was. I mean, in 2008, people were trying to get to work. They were trying to, Now we are forcibly shutting it down. This has never happened before. And how will we recover from this? Was this the best action? Um, Gosh, I don't know. There are some people that think that maybe we shouldn't have shut down. But the key thing, the reason why we did this is because flattening the curve. We have to flatten the curve. Apparently, this is the only way to, keep us from completely falling under the weight of this thing, right? We don't want to overwhelm our healthcare system. And we're already seeing that in New York. They're running out of these ventilators. Ventilators pump oxygen into your lungs when your lungs can't operate the way they usually do because of the fluid and the disease in there. So ventilators pump oxygen into your lungs. Now, we apparently need more of these than we have. And so now the president is asking GM and other businesses to start creating these things for us, and that's interesting. So we'll see if that can happen. Uh, but right now, is in places like New York, it doesn't seem like it's really happening. Talk about like, uh-oh, like teeth emoji, when I came across this article, it freaked me out. I mean, we're really talking about 1 million reservists to battle COVID-19, you think troops are going to be there to battle COVID-19? Oh no. No, no, no. These troops, I guarantee you. Okay, first of all, there will be doctors. Absolutely there will be doctors in this troop movement, but why would you require troops? Like this is the kind of movement that we should be concerned about as American citizens when our own government may be moving troops inside our own country. These are the kind of movements that concern us and should concern us. Why are you moving troops, sir? Why are you moving troops? And should I be afraid that I'll be seeing troops running along our streets? That is not the America I want to live in, and that's something we should all be concerned about. And this breaking news is huge. So we'll see how it is, and we have to again wonder what this will do to our economy, right? How will this propaganda of troops roving our streets? How will this move our economy along? But we finally get to it, right? We finally get to how the American economy will help us, right? The relief package from the government. President Trump signs into law a $2 trillion coronavirus rescue package. $2.2 trillion. $2.2 trillion. That is an incredible amount of money. And of course, we have to start asking ourselves, what's in it for us? How does this help us? Well, we can see here that obviously we're going to be getting some education aid that goes to people like you and I in this college. Big corporations, of course, they get theirs. Why wouldn't they? Individuals. Now, this is the part that involves probably most likely you and me and my brothers and your mom and your grandma and your sister and everybody else. This essentially is asking, when will we get our Trump bucks, and will you be getting your Trump bucks? Apparently, it is a bill. Inside this bill is this idea that the government will send almost every single person, $1,200. Now that is, of course, you don't make over 75,000 a year, which I'm sure most of you guys do not make over $75,000 a year. And if you do make over 75,000, you'll be getting a little bit less. But if you make over 100,000, you get nothing, sir. Nothing, nothing. And this works for married couples too. Married couples up to 150,000 combined income will get $2,400 and $500 for each kid. So that's good. I mean, it's good. It's a one-time payment. You know, it's interesting. Italy is giving 75% of your salary to you. It's something similar in the UK. Canada is giving you $2,000 a month. This is a one-time check you will receive for $1,200. Think about that. Is this going to actually do what we think it's going to do? I don't know. $1,200 doesn't seem like a lot, and especially when the average rent in America is around $1,000. It's not going to be a lot left over. So you start to wonder if something like this can actually really help in the long run. And it's $2.2 trillion. That is a lot of money, especially when you consider that the government budget is $4.45 trillion. It is half of our federal budget. And will we see anything come from this? And by the way, where did this money come from? Where did $2.2 trillion come from? That's a very interesting question, because we have to start asking ourselves, where does this money come from? This money comes from thin air. This money will be either borrowed or invented, created, just printed off the presses and sent right to your paycheck, right to your bank, direct deposited. And that brings us to this. What is inflation? Well, inflation is usually a predictable indicator of a healthy economy. We do want our economy to grow. We want it to grow by usually 2 to 3%. We want to see a slow, medium growth of 2 to 3% a year. But this indicator we call inflation, not conflation, inflation. Prices and wages slowly rise with economic growth. So we want to see it just slowly move up. However, what is hyperinflation? Now, this is actually where it gets super terrifying. Okay, we've seen hyperinflation in other countries. We've seen it in this country right after the Civil War, when the government was trying to pay their debts with just printing out money. This is what we see. We see hyperinflation. We saw it after the Revolutionary War. But we've more recently seen it in places like Brazil and Venezuela, which we'll get to in a second. But we should understand what causes hyperinflation. It starts when a country's government begins printing money to pay for its spending. Okay? Hyperinflation is when the prices of goods and services rise more than 50% a month, blah, 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 blah. But we start seeing that they print too much money, right? And then the value of that money begins to decrease inside your own mind. Venezuela in 2018, they tried to take care of their problems with printing money. They begin to lose the idea of what their value of their bolivar, is what they called it, was actually worth, And at one point, it took, look at this giant stack of money to pay for one roll of toilet paper. I have to start asking, if $2.2 trillion enters our economy in the next, 3 weeks, how much faith will you have in your dollar? I don't know. It's an interesting question, especially Venezuela 2 years ago. It took stacks of cash to get some tomatoes, stacks of cash, more than stacks of cash to get a chicken. I mean, these are the kind of things that we have to start worrying about. And I'm gonna kind of pause this video here and break this into two parts, because we're gonna get to the second half of this lecture. But I want you to think about this: $2.2 trillion. And where did it come from? It's not like we had $2.2 trillion. The size of that is insane. Anyways, I hope you'll join me for the second half of this lecture, which should be right